Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Koki Otaku. Today with us we have a very special guest. He voices Iharu Furuhashi in the super awesome Kaiju number 8, Adonis from the Kingdom of Ruins, Kai Mikhailov. I hope I'm saying that one right.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry. I don't even know if I've gotten it right.
So Kai Mikhailov in Psychopath Providence. Aslan, in That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime versus of Coleus. Like, what am I reading? Squale, Mille, Kadrecek from Sweet Reincarnation, and Jinsuk in Solo Leveling. So please give it up for Ben Stegmair. Woo!
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Oh, it was to salute like Kaiju number 8.
I do a salute.
And speaking about Kaiju number 8, important week because we had the final episode in dub of this important series, Kaiju number 8, which let me not speak about it. Let me let it to you. For those who haven't seen Kaiju number 8, how would you describe this series?
Well, Kaiju number 8 is just a fantastic shonen series. It doesn't quite get more shonen than Kaiju number 8. If you love fights, if you love big fights, fighting with big monsters, you know, little dudes who turn into monsters, all of that stuff, that is what Kaiju number 8 is all about. So yeah, if you love shonen, you love Jujutsu Kaisen, you love all this stuff, you're gonna love Kaiju number 8. Fantastic.
May I ask, before you got the role of Iharu Furuhashi,
yeah,
did you knew already about Kaiju number 8, the series?
Yeah. I mean, if you can like look around, I'm a huge manga fan already, and this is only like a portion of it, right? Kaiju number 8 is up there, and I was already collecting the manga series. I read about 3 volumes of it up until that point. So yeah, I was really interconnected with the series. It wasn't like one of the series I was reading weekly, but it's one of those manga series that I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy the volume and read it. So I was, and I loved everything that they put out, and you know, so yeah, I was a huge fan. And obviously I saw those trailers and I was like, oh boy, this is looking good. You know.
Definitely. And how do you describe your character, Iharu?
Well, Iharu can be very crass. He's a very out there character. He isn't afraid to say what he feels. He isn't afraid to get at people, you know, and just say what how it is. But he's a very different type of that kind of character. You know, he's not like Bakugo, who, you know, he is like Bakugo, but of a different manner, right? He's not Bakugo. He's not angry because, you know, he's not crass because he's angry. He's crass because I think Iharu is filled with so much love for his friends and for, you know, for the people that's around him, and that stuff sort of just comes out. And yeah, he's the best dude.
All I'm gonna say is definitely I love that you brought up Bakugo, because that's the first thing that came to my mind when I started seeing Kaiju number 8, and I was like, they are definitely from the same family. I don't care if they're not from the same universe, they're definitely from the same family because they both got shark teeth.
Yeah.
So
my sister, when I got the role, my sister came up to me, and I got this before, but my sister was the first one who came up and told me it. She said that this character is like the love child of Bakugo and Kirishima. And I went, Kirishima from My Hero, and I went, yeah. So I actually, before I went in for the role, I watched Justin Cook's Kirishima and, of course, Clifford Chapin's Bakugo, and I was like, how can I take both of those and just go, yeah, you know, and then make it my own and add a little bit of my flair to it. So yeah.
But that personality is not very easy to interpret it. So how do you manage to give life to this character with that personality, which is explosive, it's everywhere at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really played a character like that before. I mean, it helped to play Adonis from the Kingdoms of Ruin, which was a lot of, you know, a lot of screaming and a lot of like in an instant's notice, just going from 0 to 100 very, very fast. But to be honest, going from 0 to 100 isn't really hard for me. It's I really enjoy doing it, and I think there's a lot of humor that comes with it. And I think Sean, our director, and I just it came really easily. I was super afraid when I walked in because I was like, I've never played this type of character before. How does this happen? And then when I walked in, Sean immediately knew what he wanted for the character. He gave me like one note about the voice, and I was like, oh, so this is how we're going to do it. And then our first session, we were just giggling like little girls because we were having so much fun. And I think I did like a little, like I moved my feet up and down like I was kicking because I was so happy and so excited just how it sounded and how I was able to use the grittiness of my voice to make this character come alive. It was very exciting. And I still just absolutely get excited at the end of every recording session because I'm like, yes, that was it. Yeah.
Before we move forward to the next anime, which one from Kaiju number 8? I mean, this is going to be published Monday. Yeah, we can go for the 12th episode. Which one is your favorite moment that you said, damn, that was super, super cool?
Okay, well, I have two. I'll go for a moment that wasn't with Iharu and a moment that was with Iharu. I will say Sean has at times like showed me a little bit of a sneak peek of what's going to happen, which has been very exciting, especially because I would have watched it either, so I get to see it a week early, and I'm like, the fight with Kafka and Isao that happened this last week in the dub and a few weeks ago in the sub is awesome. It's my favorite fight that happened this year. It was just like I was watching it like mouth open, agape, because the other fights before with Kafka has been very much he's winning it, right? Like no matter what. A lot of people have called it One Punch Man, One Punch Kaiju. Yeah, I get that, right? Not quite the same, but that fight was really... I love fights that are well contested, Goku versus Frieza, right? Just fights that like are really, really, Goku versus Vegeta that you don't know who the winner's going to be. And Asao versus... like, it's really cool. But my favorite moment for Iharu is obviously episode 7. And I practiced it over and over and over again, that monologue in the manga, where he's like, please God... or a demon or the devil himself, just please somebody save Reno. I love that monologue. And of course the moment with Iharu where he goes, I'm the one who's saving you. Those moments for me just will stay with me till the end of my days. And if you're watching it, season 2 is going to have more of them. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
I got the chills
for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that moment I got the chill because it hit me so hard when he prayed, oh God, demon, whatever you listen to me. I was like, yeah, this is a drama. I love to.
Yeah, and then Kafka just showing up at the out of no. Oh, it's so good, so good.
Which at the end we don't know who responded with all the many he called, but we'll let it to you guys to decide what's a God, angel, demon, or Kaiju, whoever responded. Yeah. But moving forward to another drama, saving the world, magic, science, talking about your character you just mentioned, Adonis in the Kingdom of Ruins. For those who haven't seen, like me, the Kingdom of Ruins, how would you describe that series?
Well, it's very visceral, it's very serious, and it's very edgy. So if you're into those edgy animes, this is the one. It doesn't quite get more edgy than Adonis from Kingdoms of Ruin, which is a lot of fun to play. Basically, the series is just about science versus magic, and that's always just such an interesting concept for me and for that I like to watch. So, yeah.
I'm surprised. I didn't see it coming that it was an edgy series because when I see the art, it looked kind of dark. I'm serious, but now it's ecchi. I was like,
No,
wait,
I think he said
Oh, not
edgy.
edgy. Sorry,
Edgy.
Edgy.
Like
Edgy, okay.
edgy.
Now
Not
makes
edgy.
sense.
E-G-Y.
Not edgy.
Yeah, my man.
Not-
Dirty mind.
They would probably they would probably be much happier if it was edgy. But no,
I'm listening to what I want to hear, not to what.
no, it's just edgy, meaning like dark, very serious.
Gotcha.
You know? But in a way that's kind of, like, like I don't know how else to describe it other than that.
It's
That
just a
makes
feeling.
sense.
Yeah.
I swear to you, you said I hear etchy, and I was like,
Oh,
this is etchy. Like,
what?
there's something doesn't make sense.
Does
Am I
that
in the right
compute?
theory? Anyway, guilty. No, I can't defend myself. And trying to get out of this hole what I throw myself.
Yeah.
How would you describe Adonis, the main character of this series?
Well, Adonis is has a goal and he's going to get it nonstop, right? At the beginning of the series, his motherly figure dies from the hands of these humans, and he has vowed to destroy them all and basically rebuild, rework this world, which desperately needs it. And he's been locked in prison for 13 years. So he has one goal, and that's what he is going after. So yeah, the Adonis is really, really going after that goal. However, as the series progresses, he becomes lighter as he, as Dorica kind of fills the role of that was left by Morgan, who was his motherly figure that died. So yeah, that's how I would describe him.
For a second, you remind me Death Note. Can we say it's kind of similar to Death Note?
It is, but it's more fantastical. I mean, Death Note is fantastical, but of a different manner. Death Note is kind of is like that detective kind of, but there are moments that are very like that are kind of similar to Light. But how Adonis is going to progress, if he's going to become like the pure evil incarnate like Light becomes in that series, I don't know. We'll have to see if it gets a season 2. But yeah,
At least we can say that both of them are in the seek of justice, right?
yeah. It's all about justice. Yeah.
So talking about justice, moving on to the next anime, also talking about justice, we had your character of Mikhailov,
Mikhailov, I think it is.
Mikhailov.
But it doesn't matter because that's not even his real name. So don't worry.
Better. It's the great theory, which is a legacy anime, Psychopath Providence. Try to establish justice house. I'm trying to
Segue.
Good segue. I enjoyed it.
For those who haven't seen this movie yet, you know what? For those who also know about this series, because nobody has seen this classic of the anime world.
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
Well, Psychopaths is one of my all-time favorites. I mean, I'm a sucker for good seinen. And for those of you who don't know what seinen is, it's a more mature version of manga and anime for people who are a little bit older. Shonen means, young boy in Japanese. Seinen means, young male in Japanese. So that's kind of what they're for. But so just to tell you that it is a seinen, that it is for older people, it's a very serious series, very gritty, very real, very down to earth. Even the performances in the dub and sub. I mean, Kogami, played by Rob McCullum, very, very down to earth in his performances. But basically, the story follows a kind of police detective force that deals with that. There's this meter that kind of judges a person off of their psyche. And it's this thing called their, I don't know, it's been called multiple different things and their hue, their, They're psychopaths is mainly the main thing that it's referred to as. And that's how they judge whether or not they should be imprisoned, killed, set free, whatever. And in the first season of the series, basically there is a villain who has a clear hue, who has a clear psychopath. But we as humans watching the series know that he's a bad guy, right? So he's a perfect antagonist for that series. And as the series has gone on, it has that technology has evolved, and that's what Psychopath Providence is about the evolution of that technology, of the technology that is law, that is judging these people. And all of these people are fighting for what that next step is. It's a prequel to the third season. It's a sequel to the second season. It's right in between there, and my character is the brother of the main character of the third season. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
When you gave that definition, the first thing crossed my mind was Toonami at 1 a.m. That segment from 1 to 3, even they used to bring this anime. I think Psychopath was in Toonami one time.
I think so.
Adult Swim, you mean?
My bad.
Yeah,
Adult Swim
was for okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time that Toonami was in Adult Swim too.
Yeah.
My first thought was Shonen versus Seinen. I didn't know that. I always referred to them as Shonen. I never actually referred to them as Seinen. So correct me if I'm wrong. Well, I don't know. Would Seinen not be more based on the power of love and friendship to win fights?
No. Seinen most of the time deal in very like serious concepts. I mean, my favorite stories of all time are seinen, right? Vinland Saga, which is my favorite manga and anime ever, except for maybe Mob Psycho, which that is shonen. But you have Berserk, which everybody knows, even if you're not a manga and anime fan, and then Vagabond, which is arguably the greatest manga of all time, right? So, and then of course there's others like Monster and Kingdom. But those all deal in very serious, very internal, human conflict. It's kind of like the difference. It's kind of like, a Lord of the Rings versus a Game of Thrones kind of thing. It's kind of like that. Like one of them deals in more serious aspects, while the other one kind of deals with good versus evil, which we all love. Right. And there's some exceptions, like Attack on Titan is obviously like all the characters are very gray, but that is still encompassed as a shonen. Right. But yeah, so that's just what that is.
And talking about serious thing and real life, let's talk about your career, Ben, because we know you're otaku. No question about, about manga, about this stuff. So how do you make it to this world as a voice actor? Because, I mean, at this point, we know that you like anime, sounding very young, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been a fan of this stuff for years and years and years and years. And there was a few years where I stopped, and then there were a few years where I came back, and now I'm fully back. And it was mainly the new age stuff that brought me back. But now I'm reading some of the older stuff like Full Metal that I haven't, I haven't fully there's some really good stuff I haven't watched, but I save these stories because they mean a lot to me, right? And so I pick and choose, what I read, when I read it, and when I need it, right? But I love this stuff. But I tried to get into this industry for about 3 or 4 years with nothing really happening. I took classes, and I had there was a time where I did like one Walla session, or like one additional voice session. I didn't get called in for a few years. But basically how I really, really got into it was performing around town and meeting people like Sean, who you have had on your show before. And through Sean, I met, through Marcus Stimmick, who is another just fantastic person. I met Sean, and those two, I really attest to me having my career. And then I met through Sean, Caitlin Glass, who is a huge mentor of mine, and I've worked on a lot of shows with her. So yeah, it's just kind of been a perfect storm. It's been a perfect storm for me, right? And I feel like the luckiest guy in the world. I was such a big anime fan, have been for years. I was really big into acting and theater, and I was born in Dallas. So I really lucked out in all of this stuff to be where I am and how that happened. So yeah.
And what drove you to choose acting that career and not soccer, like you have for your Germany national team, or any sport or any other area field studies?
Well, there were only two things I was interested in, which was soccer and or foosball or football. 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 Yeah, I call it football. Don't worry. But it was only between football and theater. And there was one day where I kind of realized that what I really loved to do was theater. And it was one day in school when, they my coach and my theater director kind of made me choose, because I had to miss some practices or some rehearsals. And they were like, well, you can't do, if they're at the same time, you can't do both. Which sucked, because I was like the vice captain. It was my sophomore year, and I was the vice captain on like the secondary team. And so it was going well, but I thought my heart had always lied in theater and stuff like that. So I did choose it. And then I just absolutely fell in love with it. And first I fell in love with plays and just that literature. And how I fell in love with it, I don't quite know. I just think it happened, right? I just saw it, and I saw how much fun I could have, how difficult it was for me, to push me, to be something, to be a performer like this. And all the friends that I met from it, and all the mentors that I had. I love acting, and I love performing on the stage. And I don't think, no matter how big I get in anime, if I do ever get bigger than this, I don't think it'll ever stop performing on the stage. So yeah.
I always say high school year is one of the unfair years that everybody had to go through, because the most important choice are made in only months, and they're just not like, it's not like, hey, you want to eat pizza, taco, or sushi. It's like something they're going to do great in your life, or going to ruin your life for the rest of your life.
Yeah, man. I mean, I wanted to go to a 4-year college, and it would have put me in a massive amount of debt. But my family were like, no, you're going to community college. And I was like, no. And in reality, they made one of the best decisions. I call it the best decision of my life that I didn't make.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't be where I am without going to that community college. So yeah.
Thanks to your family, guys. Learn from them.
Yeah, let them know.
Student loans, they don't go. You can make the biggest payment, and those son of it's still in the same place.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I'm still in debt. I went to a 4-year university after, but it would have been way worse. Way worse. But yeah.
What factors? So okay, you were in high school and you had to choose. And suddenly they ask you, soccer, sport, or acting stage. What else? A young man with probably 17 years, 16 year old. What factor did you evaluate there? Because I started thinking like, well, let me see. Where do I have more famous? Which is cool. Maybe people like to see how famous they are. Yeah. Where do they have more friends? How you made that choice?
Well, the choice for me was just what I mean, it wouldn't be beyond me at that point to think about like career choices, and how that would have gone in the future. And I think at that time it kind of I thought about it, and I was like, oh, maybe this could be a career, At that time I was going to more professional plays in Dallas, like going to watch Dallas Theater Center and Theater 3 and Shakespeare Dallas and theaters that I perform with. Not Dallas Theater Center, but the others. They kind of inspired me to be like, oh, these guys are doing it for a career and they're living off of it. That sounds a lot of fun. But the other thing was also that I had a soccer team outside of school, right? So, and those were my friends. I played on a full Hispanic soccer team, and I grew up with those guys. And they were at the time they were my brothers. Sadly, we're not in contact anymore. Maybe I gotta rectify that. But I just played with them, and I actually thought that they were better than my school team. So I was like, if something happens, if a scout, that's gonna happen. A scout would have seen our team, that would have happened. But I don't think I don't think the school would have been the end all be all. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I just love theater so much, man. I love plays. That's also at a time when I was reading plays like a monster. I don't anymore. I read manga like a monster now, not plays. But yeah, I mean, there was also a couple of other stuff that I thought about. I was always interested in astrology. In science, but I was never good at math, and you got to be good at math to get a science degree. So I was like, nah, screw that.
Quick question: what is it about an on-stage play that calls out to you so much?
That's a good question. To me, there's nothing more. It's that there's nothing like it, right? I think in all the media that we consume, it's all very digitalized. It's performed, a bunch of times. They pick one, right? But when you go see a show live, that's the performance that you see. If you go see it again, that's the performance that you see. And then when it's over, it's done. Maybe there's a recorded version that you can watch later on and have fun, watching and thinking back. But that's only one of 30 or 60 or 90. I love that in the moment, that really just natural. And I think that a lot of the actors are bringing that into anime. People like Marissa Duran. I don't know if you guys had on your show. You guys have.
Yeah.
She is very, very good at making things natural. Celeste, who you also have, they're really good. And of course, directors like Caitlin and Sean are really good at taking that. But the other thing is, and that really was the moment I really fell in love with it, there's nothing stronger than an actor, than acting with another actor on the stage, right? And just looking the other person in the eye and telling them the truth. There's nothing stronger than that, and there's nothing I love more than that. And just looking the other person in the eye and sharing that moment. Sharing a moment that's either intense for the character, emotional, happy, all the emotions. There's nothing better than that. And finding that in things like Shakespeare or Chekhov or, that is really interesting to me. So, yeah.
And going back to anime, one of your latest Raw, one a very interesting adventure where you're the second prince talking about Aslan in. That time I got reincarnated as Aslan.
Yes.
Visions of Coleus. For those who haven't seen, I think everybody has seen Slime at this point. So let's talk about that movie.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen that movie, how would you describe
I
this
actually
movie?
wouldn't be able to help you with Slime because I'm I haven't fully read or watched it. Normally, if I get it, I will read or watch it. But this was a one-time 3 animated special. So
okay.
I was okay, we're just diving in, and my character was so far off that I was I guess I don't need to know this stuff because he's learning it as it's going along, but yeah.
Which is, it's kind of work on your favor because on this series, in the movie, technically, like you mentioned, it is the connection between season 2 and season 3, the one that's right now on release on Crunchyroll. And those characters like Aslan, they are meant to not know who our main character the slime is.
Yeah, they don't know who Rimuru is. Yeah, they don't. And so Mike McFarland, who's our director, was telling me what's going on. And I was like, okay, like, here we go. You know, and I was the whole time, I was like, where's the slime? I was like, where is the slime? Because nobody turned it to us, at least in my scenes. Nobody turned it to a slime. So I was like, what the heck is going on? But it's obviously Rimuru can shapeshift, and I learned that later on. But yeah.
Okay. What was your reaction? Okay, so did you record after? Okay. Did you record before knowing the fact that Rimuru can shapeshift?
No, I didn't. So, I learned it when Aslan learns it, because Aslan pieces it together at the end.
Okay, right? What was your reaction then?
Yeah, I mean, I was like, what? I mean, Mike, to be honest, I don't want to, like, Mike might have told me, and I might have just gone like, okay, whatever. And then, like, let's go, you know? But, like, when it happened, Aslan pieces it together, and he's like, I knew it was you who saved us. And I was like, yeah, I knew it was you, you know?
It's funny because you say, oh, Mike probably told me. And you're like, probably was an information dump session and my brain couldn't retain so much info. Because that happens to people. Like, you info dump them and like, yes. I have no clue.
Yeah. So Mike, like, I've wanted to work with Mike McFarland for so long. The director of Chainsaw Man, Attack on Titan, voice actor of, you know, Master Roshi, Jean, all these people, right? And so I might have been a little bit nervous. So I might have just gone, yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of late, but for somebody who haven't seen Slime, what was the first image you crossed to your mind and say, oh yeah, it is a series about where the main character is a slime? What crossed to your mind about it?
It's just a slime, you know, like I mean, it's one of those animes that you look at and you're like, how is this a story? And then you realize that it has a really dedicated fan base and a really good story, and then you're just like, wow, like, it's an honor to be a part of it, even just a small part. But, you know, Aslan was the first, like, hero type character I've played. I've played somewhat villains, somewhat morally gray characters, a little bit of sweethearts, but, like, Aslan was a hero, and that was a lot of fun to play. Yeah.
It's funny when you mentioned, when Alex asked that question about what was your first thought when you read that that title, and I just want to say, would it be along the lines of reborn as a vending machine? Now I wonder. Whatever.
Now I wonder the seventh dungeon or kingdom. Yeah, it's around that. It's around that vibe. But, like, by the way, this was a very, very crazy circumstance for me, because if I'm cast in something, I normally immediately pick it up. I read it very fast. I get on it. But, like, Slime, I couldn't, because it was so long, and I was like up to season 2. So I was like, oh no, you know. But yeah. Yeah.
And going to the next series, talking about Reincarnation, talking about your next character, Squale, Mille, Kadrecek, Sweet Reincarnation.
Kadrecek. It's
that was a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Don't worry.
For those who haven't seen this Sweet theory, how would you describe it?
Well, Sweet Reincarnation is a great series directed by Sean Gann, and it's basically a very anime, right? It's about food, it's about cooking, it's about how you solve problems with cooking, like solve wars and depression, which is really like, whoa, you know.
Power of love and friendship.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those animes that it's the most anime of them all. But, you know, I think it's a highlight for me as an actor, just because at that time I played really cool characters, like with a little subtle voice, you know, and this character was really high up in my register. And he's a sweetheart, Squale, and he's really the only sweetheart I've played in my time at Crunchyroll. and he's which was a fantastic experience. I was ecstatic when I saw him. I was like, oh my god, he's a nervous dude. Like, I was like, this is gonna be so much fun to play. I was like, he's not cool. I still like to play cool characters. Please keep me cool characters. Like, I love just getting something and you're like, wow, this is different. I think it's great. Yeah.
You know what? It reminded me. It gave me the vibes of another. I think Sean's also series, Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. Only that now this one is baking in the kitchen.
Yeah. Sean just likes to direct baking shows. Yeah.
Making anime
camping, chill shows.
Yeah.
Or something you go aggressive with Kaiju.
Things that make you happy.
Yeah. I mean, I love shows like Laid Back Camp too, just because it's just those shows that you just lay back and you watch, and it's a great time. Yeah.
But not the time to lay back. Go into your last character.
Yeah.
And this one is not chill. This one is more stressful. Talking about Jinsuk in Solo Leveling.
Yes.
For those who haven't seen Solo Leveling, how would you describe this interesting art, which is not a manga?
Yeah, it's a manhwa. Manhwa, if you don't know, are basically similar to mangas, but they're made by Koreans, right? And most of the time they're turned into webtoons. So most of the time they are some differences are they're colored rather than just being the normal black and white for manga. But to be honest, manhwa is not something I have tackled. There are so many manga all the time, everywhere, that manhwa is just like, I look at it and I go, oh, I'll get to it. Like give me peace. But Solo Leveling is a very special series, and it basically follows this hunter who's just who was a low rank, but after some life-changing things and life-changing courses have happened and have turned him into this practical god, but yeah, and that's what the whole series is about. I haven't picked up the manhwa. I will, but yeah. So that's Solo Leveling.
That manhwa, I haven't read it. I do have a friend who is up to date with that manhwa. All I remember was before Solo Leveling came out, there was so much hype because it was a manhwa that did so well.
Yes.
And like got a lot of views. I don't know if it was ever like sold physically. Point is, it got like really great numbers. And when Solo Leveling was actually first announced, it was something that was new in the anime world, just because there weren't very many manhwa being adapted into anime at the time. And this one was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna put manhwa out there on the map. And people were ecstatic about it. And then it came out and it was just beautiful, gorgeous, awesome. Yeah. It was like, give me the other episode. Just like Kaiju number 8. I'm like, no, why did it end it here? We gotta wait another week for the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, I know that a lot of anime studios are now seriously looking at manhwas to be adapted more and more, which is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm very fascinated and it's going to be fascinating to see, because like, how do manhwas differ from mangas? Like, a lot of people say that like shonen has a problem with too many characters. A lot of people say that manhwa has a problem of just following the lead character and not having like too much of a supporting cast. So that's what I've heard. Once again, I haven't read manhwa, so we'll have to see. Like, it's going to be fascinating to see how that trend happens and how it mixes in with mangas.
And that's just manhwa. We're not even talking about donhwas, which are the Chinese version. And they have Studio Bilibili, which they have a goal of actually usurping the crown for anime by doing so much more donhwa and like just saturating the market there. So it's like, it's such a good, I believe it's such good news for you guys, like voice actors in general, because it's like, oh, we're getting like plenty of material, like
20%.
For us the consumer, we're like, yes, and then for you guys it's like, okay, it's secure at least.
Yeah, that's what I would say to new voice actors, or even long-term voice actors who are discouraged when they don't get a part. Guys, the best manhwa, donghua is just around the corner, right? You don't get the part in this one, that's fantastic. The next one is going to be, just as good, if not better. So, there is always something around the corner. And people who say things like the golden age of anime is dead, BS. It's just getting started.
It's just getting started.
Honestly, I always say that we are living in the second renaissance for anime, because I'd say first renaissance was when we were growing up as kids. It was like late 90s, early 2000s, when anime was like, oh, it's a thing, and it was because of Pokemon, Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, etc. And it became like a thing because a lot of people were starting to consume Naruto, and One Piece, everything else.
Yeah.
And then for me, I think it kind of died down. There was kind of like a lull until like now. Yes, while Attack on Titan started in 2013 and became a huge worldwide phenomenon, I don't think it was until closer to the pandemic years that it exploded, especially again during the pandemic, where everybody was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to watch? And then Netflix started picking up anime, and the rest is history, in my opinion.
My what I attest to as the big renaissance of anime, or the beginning of it, at least the start, was probably around the time of My Hero and One Punch Man. A lot of people don't think about One Punch Man, but One Punch Man Season 1 brought a lot of people in and was a huge success. So it's kind of, I also think it helped that the MCU was huge at that time. And so you have two ginormous superhero animes to bring people in. So yeah. But there's something for everybody. There's something for everybody now. Everyone.
And I want to say, in those who said that the anime is on the end, hell no. In Puerto Rico, anime haven't even arrived, to be honest. It's barely starting now.
Yep.
It's starting, and it's being slow start just because the media, political environment, it is very not millennial and new generation. It's the other way around. But just think about it. We're the only anime video podcast in Puerto Rico. We're the only one. No kidding. So yeah, in Puerto Rico,
like exclusively anime.
Wow,
it's no joke. I've been asking around. I've been in stage saying, "I'm the only one," to see somebody say, "You are." Say, "Where are you?" Finally, but it haven't happened yet. So we can live. Jinsuk, how would you describe your character? How was it to voice act?
Yeah, well, Jinsuk is a part of a gang that is not cool, right? They are very scummy, very, backstabby. So basically, my character is only in 3 of the episodes, and he's with this group, and a whole bunch of awesome actors are in that group. But basically, we're there to give the main character their next, that like their next level, basically. And when that's kind of the role that we played, and we get brutalized. Brutalized. A little bit of a spoiler.
But it was so satisfying, honestly.
Yeah, very satisfying, but it's a lot of fun to watch. And this was the first time ever that my friends were like, dude, you're everywhere. And I was like, what? What are they talking about? And my friends sent me like 5 or 6 TikToks with like, I don't have TikTok, so I wouldn't know, but that had like millions of views, and it was me just like screaming and like getting brutalized. It was much nicer when Kaiju number 8 came out, because it was actually like my good moments, it was like me being heroic and awesome, rather than me getting stabbed to death by Alex Lee. But yeah.
Definitely. Ben, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
For those who are considering the voice acting or the industry, any words of advice or any life advice that you would like to share?
Yeah. I talked about this in the last show that I was a part of in Do You Watch Anime, but I said I will always live by the words, hold on tightly and let go lightly. As I said before, right? The next project is just around the corner, right? Hold on tightly. If you get the role, live in it, exist in it, be its number one fan, support it. Don't shove it in people's face, because that's rude. But, really enjoy that you're being a part of it. And then if it doesn't happen, congratulate your friends, move on, and go to the next project. The only other thing is, perform. And if you're a fan of anime, just be a fan, and if you're not getting the roles, that's okay. Be a fan. I didn't get voiceover roles until I gave up, right? I said, all right, I was like, it's not happening for me. It's been about 3.5 years I've been trying. And that's, if it happens, it'll happen, but I'm just going to be a fan. And then 2 weeks later, I got my first name role. So, yeah.
There you go. Awesome, Ben. Thank you so much. For those who haven't followed you yet, which social media can they follow you?
Yes, you can follow me on steg.stagram on Instagram. You can follow me on bstegmairvo on Twitter. If you're interested with YouTube stuff, I do have a channel that I did a couple of videos on that I plan on doing more. I have videos talking about Frieren, videos talking about Tatami Galaxy and Haikyuu and stuff like that. And that's the YouTube channel is called Manga Theater. So it's my two favorite things that I love and just mixed together. So, yeah.
Awesome. And like always, guys, you have any hard time finding Ben's social media, just go down to the description of this video, expand the description, and right over there, just with one click, you need to find all Ben's social media. Click over there, follow, and I cannot make it easy for you guys. Expand, click, you make it. And because you already made it over there, we humbly ask you for subscribe, like, and share in all social media. YouTube, very important for us. Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify. We're starting now to upload a video podcast in Spotify. We're trying to figure out how this works. And all our social media. And if by any chance you're looking for something of speed, adrenaline, you're into the Formula One. Well, Formula 1 perspective, what is Formula 1? It's an equation, it's mathematical. It's just sexy military guys driving an expensive car, and we're just fangirling about them because they look so cool and they're just sexy. What the heck is Formula 1? You can follow Kiara's new project, Koki F1, when we speak about the 101 basic on Formula 1, and we have like a reaction every after Grand Prix of what happened during the weekend before, all the rumors, who's going to get fired, who's going to be recruited, who screwed up, and why Verstappen is doing so great and he's really unstoppable, even that it's changing now. So, Ben, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys in the next episode. Sayonara.
Bye.